Hey guys, and welcome to the Working Money Channel. GRD posting this, 130 regional bank stocks are down more than 5% today. Exactly 0 of the 349 regional banks are green today. 0, guys, of 349 regional banks. Take a look at some of these banks, okay? Of course, the other day we were talking about PacWest Bancorp. Now it's down 51.86%. Western Alliance down 38.9%. First Horizon Capital down 35.9%. Home Street is down 26.3%. Old Point Financial down 19% roughly. First Republic Bank down 16%. So, we're getting a lot of worry here, rightfully so. Of course, the U.S. banking sector very vulnerable, and it's these regional banks that are really taking the hit. Now, I'm personally of the opinion that this is part of a bigger plan. Hit the regional banks, money flees out of the regional banks, moving into the bigger banks, basically a forced consolidation phase that is occurring. And of course, when power is in the hands of the big players, the big banks, well, that means that your money is now in the hands of the powers that be. So, they can do things like implement central bank digital currencies a lot easier. And Kevin OLeary is also coming out and saying a collapse is a very good process. He says the banking crisis is now in that part of determining which of the U.S. regional banks will keep standing. In a new interview on Fox Business, OLeary says that major U.S. banks should no longer rescue bankrupt banks because their collapse is due to poor management. The statement comes as several regional banks, including PacWest Bancorp and Western Alliance Bank Corporation, saw big losses this week. Here's a quote. He says, a regional bank goes bankrupt, so what? Anybody that had $250,000 or less is covered by FDIC insurance. And so I think we got to keep that into consideration too. That is the majority of people. But the bigger question here, the bigger point that Kevin OLeary is probably not going to address, that I just addressed, is that, having the power, not having the choice, moving their money from smaller to bigger institutions is the sticking point that I want to make there. It's not about, are you going to lose your balance under 250,000? It's about the power disbursement. And, in certain countries like Canada, there's only 5 major banks. They're all big banks. There are no real mom and pop shops, like they have in the United States. So he says, this is basically paid for by you as a fee. Okay, so he's talking about the FDIC insurance. So he's talking about that part of it. OLeary says incompetent managers should be purged out of the system, and letting go of insolvent banks will not shut down the American economy. Another quote here, the point is idiot managers are expensive. Clearly, they're not good bankers. We can't keep them around. They've got to go. In any other sector, when you fail, you get fired. It's okay. Let's whack them. Let's shut the banks down and consolidate to super regionals like every other country has done. It's not the end of the world. So that is Kevin OLeary's assessment on this. But then what does that mean for the American people? If there are less financial institutions to stick your money in, less choice, more consolidation of the big banks, well, this would make ushering in a central bank digital currency a lot easier, would it not? Luckily, states like North Carolina are following in Florida's footsteps. This one from Free American Spirit here on Twitter. North Carolina House unanimously votes to ban digital dollar payments to the state. So the House of Representatives of the U.S. state voted 118-0 to pass an amended version of a bill that initially sought to ban crypto payments. Okay, so this is to ban crypto payments, but the crypto payments they're talking about are central bank digital currencies. North Carolina's House of Representatives on Wednesday unanimously passed a bill prohibiting the state's agencies and institutions from accepting payments in central bank digital currencies. So to clarify there, they want to do the same thing as Florida, ban CBDCs. Representatives voted 118-0 with 2 excuse absences in favor of the bill in its second reading that would prevent the state's court system or any agency tied to the state from accepting a Federal Reserve issued digital dollar. The bill also bans the state from participating in any pilot tests of CBDCs. So guys, a step in the right direction. This is these are senators fighting back. This is the American people telling their representatives what they want and what they do not want. So lawmakers are increasingly opposing the issuance of the digital dollar, with Florida Governor Ron DeSantis proposing similar legislation to ban CBDCs in Florida. Crypto ally and majority whip in the House of Representatives, Tom Emmer, has said CBDCs could be weaponized as a political tool, and I'm sure you guys are no stranger to that concept. The North Carolina bill was in fact introduced in early April under the title No Cryptocurrency Payment to State, and was changed to focus on digital currencies issued by the U.S. Federal Reserve, and in addition filed on Tuesday. So that is the latest news, guys, from North Carolina. And 118-0, wow. amazing. But I guess that really does speak to how these representatives feel, in and amidst this banking crisis, in and amidst this, sudden onset turmoil for some people. The American public is fighting back, and they do not want to be controlled. Freedom first and foremost, which I respect 100%. Blockchain, though, that's a different story. That's not going away. VeChain has announced a partnership with BCW Global, guys. This one from Cryptic Poet here on Twitter. They're in a new partnership with BCW Global, a billion-dollar supply chain management company, and they're going to collaborate on global expansion for sustainability initiatives. The partnership will focus on using blockchain technology to promote transparency, traceability, and environmental responsibility in supply chains. So VeChain, one of those companies, I feel like I've been talking about them at least a few times a week. They're saying now they're entering a new chapter as we leverage blockchain and Web3 for sustainability to launch VeChain internationally. We've teamed up with a leading global communications agency, BCW Global, with integrated PR, a full rebranding, creative and comms support. So VeChain looking to expand outside of China. I was talking about this yesterday too, but this new partnership is looking to help them do so. They're looking to get into over 50 countries and provide end-to-end solutions for businesses looking to optimize their supply chain. So that's the great thing about, a company like VeChain, supply chain management. Every single big company needs supply chain management. And what better way to do it than on the blockchain, right? You can trace your products from inception to, final end user. And so this is great for clothing companies, for, food exporters, for electronics companies, for anything, any kind of product, that is created. That company can essentially utilize VeChain technology to track supply chain management. So one of the key areas of focus for the partnership is environmental responsibility, which is also, a big talking point these days. For businesses, ESG concerns. VeChain's blockchain platform can be used to track the carbon footprint of products throughout their life cycle too. So that's a big thing. Also, in addition, the partnership will explore the use of blockchain technology to promote ethical labor practices in supply chain by tracking the movement of goods and ensuring that the products are in compliance with labor standards. Businesses can improve working conditions for employees and prevent the use of forced child labor. So, many countries of the world, this is still happening. Labor laws aren't as strict as in the West. So VeChain looking to step up and, supply these companies with the ability to, track their operations and, create an ethical environment for their workers. So that, it's all good. Everybody wins, really. And the VET token, guys, still at a very, very low price. I was talking about Pepe this morning. If you guys didn't catch that video, I will link it up here in the top right-hand corner. Take a look at that chart. But let's forget about Pepe for a second and just take a look at VeChain. Let me throw it on the daily just to demonstrate where VeChain is sitting, guys. I think this is going to be a breakout coin in the next bull run. Whoops, I didn't want that. I wanted this tool here, down over 90%. And this is good because this just means more profit opportunity once we do see that pump. And, when every coin pumps, right, when we see Bitcoin pump, we tend to see the entire crypto market pump. These are the coins that are going to yield the highest results, 92.6% down off that top. Even if you got into VeChain, halfway through the bull market, you would have still made over 2,000%, almost 2,400%. And that's getting in at the end of 2020. Let's say you got in right in here, you would have made over 12,000%. So huge gain potential for this particular coin, and the fundamentals are great too. So just wanted to thank the Cryptic Poet for mentioning that. Wrath of Kahneman in here, guys, bringing this up too with regards to Bank Alfalah. They're a Ripple user. They're opening a new remittance corridor. The remittance corridor is opening between the UK and Pakistan through SendSpend, and they're calling it a state-of-the-art international remittance corridor. The cloud-based service allows immediate and effortless money transfers from the UK to Pakistan through mobile phones, allowing individuals and businesses to send and receive money internationally more conveniently than ever. SendSpend is an international remittance service that uses groundbreaking cloud-based technology to make money transfers seamless and convenient with just a few taps. Through its partnership, the SendSpend Bank Alfalah is equipping the users of 17 different mobile wallets in Pakistan to not just receive funds internationally, but also the possibility to use the bank's over 900 ATMs nationwide to cash out. So, streamlining payments and cross-border transactions, this is what these companies really want to make easy for their clients, and they're using DLT technology to do so. Bank Alfalah was one of those more or less recent Ripple partners, one of the Middle Eastern connections that have decided to run on RippleNet, and so now they're opening another corridor. Don't know if this is going to be an ODL corridor or maybe eventually it will be an on-demand liquidity corridor, but for now, obviously opening up a new corridor through the UK to Pakistan Pakistan specifically through mobile phones, allowing individuals and businesses to send money internationally and conveniently, and probably at a very, very low cost compared to what the competition is offering at this moment in time. So, great news here coming from Ripple partner bank Alfalah. I wanted to thank the Wrath of Kahneman for posting that. Guys, ISO 20022, let's do it, posted this. Check this out, okay? Ripple shown in EastNet's ISO 20022 native product, Payment Safe, as the DLT connection between them and SWIFT.
If you haven't heard of Payment Safe is EastNet's payment hub that unifies dealing with all kinds of payment networks, whether domestic, international, and of course SWIFT as well, to allow an enhanced STP mode on all different payments. Now, the importance of Payment Safe over here is that it has an important component, which is a universal translator for the exchange of different payment formats. Now, of course, one of the most important formats is the legacy MT that you already know, and the new ISO 20022 format, including the CBPR+.
So Payment Safe, just another one of those examples of the DLT implementation. This was an older video from about a year ago, but I thought I'd bring it to your attention. You can see Ripple DLT technology mentioned in this, with all the ISO 20022 implementation that's occurring. I thought it'd be good to remind you guys that, this is occurring with EastNet's ISO 20022 initiative, Payment Safe connecting to distributed ledger technology, including SWIFT. And if you guys remember back in 2019, King Solomon was even talking about this. EastNet SafeWatch filtering AML certified by SWIFT, which is the current implementation. Interesting article about Ripple taking over the world, but SWIFT's GPI being better suited to currently address the problems. Now, I don't know if that school of thought has maybe changed over the last few years. You can see this older document, the SWIFT certified application profile, and they do mention the website here, eastnets.com. Ripple was certainly discussed in this paper. Even SWIFT has been testing out incorporation of blockchain into its GPI system. We know that was a bit of a failure. The Ferrari body on the T-model Ford engine, as Brad Garlinghouse has put it in the past, but the company's experts have been hesitant to roll this out on a larger scale, citing the lack of scalability and need for further development. Platforms like Ripple can process cross-border payments faster. Swift GPI has already so far exceeded the previous industry standard that there isn't yet widespread demand for the kind of instantaneous cross-border payments offered by blockchain systems. Is this ideal? Certainly. Is it necessary for banks to remain competitive in the market? Not at present. But again, guys, remember this was from 2019. So much has changed in such a short period of time. So again, with EastNets, in terms of other developments, the company is working with Ripple and IBM concerning blockchain projects, but these are in the early days at present. The company is not looking to set the trend in this field, nor be the last. So again, a bit of an older document, but when you take it in context with what is happening today, again, from just last year, Ripple implementation on the same footing as Swift, you can see how far this has gone. I also wanted to bring this up with regards to the WEF. An important and compliant solution takes center stage in discussion on financial inclusion. Now, this came from this year's Davos, okay, January 2023. Not only is the founder and CEO of EastNets on this panel, but also the chief compliance officer at Lulu Financial Holdings, which is another Ripple partner. And again, this was happening at the WEF forum in Davos. So we know Ripple is also a partner at the WEF. So we can see how these things have been interconnected for years now, and how, Ripple is slowly and quietly, in some cases, just kind of been creeping up to the forefront. There were a lot of doubters in the early days, but guys, when you take it into context, when you take a look at the bigger picture, and you see how far Ripple has come, and you see how quietly they've kind of snuck up, for us in the XRP community, it's been fairly obvious, I think, since the beginning. But for many others, this has kind of been a quiet creep. And so, on the surface, when you're looking at the lawsuit, the SEC, and, what's going on over there, you're thinking to yourself, oh, okay, is this going to end well? Is it not going to end well? How can I justify this XRP investment that I still might be holding? I know a lot of us are not even concerned about that, but there is a faction of people that are seriously still concerned about that. When in doubt, guys, always zoom out. Always look at the partnerships. Always look at what is really going on in the ecosystem, how cryptocurrencies like XRP are going to flood the market once we do see some real meaningful clarity. And by meaningful, I mean, we need institutions to really kind of be confident enough to dump trillions of dollars into this market. In this morning's video, I was talking a little bit about this. With the institutional grade investments, we're going to see this market cap really rally. $1.2 trillion is nothing. That's chump change compared to where we're going to be in a few years once we do see, confidence really rise for institutions. But in order to get confidence, a final verdict in the Ripple SEC case would be a good start. Judge Torres was questioned when she was confirmed by some members of Senate. Here were some of her responses. This coming from Wheezy at Nerd Nation Unbox on Twitter. Notice question number 13. Here's what he's saying here, okay? And remember, the Supreme Court did not believe the oranges themselves were securities, as the SEC alleges the tokens today are now. Now, what he's referring to is this, okay? There are a few questions here. What assurances can you give that litigants coming into your courtroom will be treated fairly regardless of their political beliefs or whether they are rich or poor, defendant or plaintiff? And Judge Torres responded, during my 13 years as a New York State judge, I have treated all litigants with fairness and impartiality without regard to their political beliefs, their level of wealth, or their status as a plaintiff or, in criminal cases, the prosecution or a defendant. If confirmed, I would employ this same approach. But number 13, as Wheezy mentioned here, what would you do if you believe the Supreme Court or the Court of Appeals had seriously erred in rendering a decision? Would you apply that decision, or would you use your best judgment of the merits to decide the case? And her response was this: the Federal District Court is bound by Supreme Court, which is a fact, and Court of Appeals precedent. I would apply controlling precedent whether I agreed with it or not, which is what a judge is supposed to do. And as Wheezy points out here, question number 13, remembering that the Supreme Court did not believe the oranges themselves were securities, as the SEC alleges the tokens are today. So, in fact, if Judge Torres is being completely truthful, what would happen next is that she should believe, according to her statement here, that XRP and similar cryptocurrencies are not considered securities today based on the current Howey test that we have to, in fact, classify cryptocurrencies. Now, that test may change in the future, but as of today, as it stands, this is how she said she would rule. So a little bit of light at the end of the tunnel. I'm getting fairly excited. I know we're all waiting with bated breath. When verdict? When moon? It's all going to come very, very soon, guys. That's just my opinion, but I want to hear what you guys think. Please subscribe to the channel if you have not already. Like the video if you like the content I'm providing. I always love hearing your comments. See you in the next one, guys.